r/AskReddit 30-year-olds of Reddit. What's something you regret about your 20s? Focusing too much on my career and not enough on friends and relationships. I have a great career and the financial stability to go places and do things, but no one to do them with because I was a workaholic and ignored my social life. Damn. This is me right now. 14-hour workdays and no time for friends. I don't see anyone anymore outside of work. I'm 24. As a former corporate stooge who is now 37. It's not worth it. I also knew a lot of people who died young. Definitely not worth it.
Claim your free AirPods today by clicking the first link in the description down below.
Given possible allocation of 100 points. 70 all the time I wasted drinking and just ducking off. 20 not contributing anything to 401k. 10 not exercising. Ding. 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 We have a winner. You've successfully narrowed down most people's wasted youths. Really? I wasted my youth being a stuck-up bitch who only worked and never partied. Now my depression is so bad, and I have no good memories or friendships. Just money. The grass is always greener. Edit. I was hyperbolizing. Stuck-up bitch, but it's fine. I just didn't go outside and look down on people who smoked weed and partied. Not asking for help when I needed it. You okay? Well, I'm now. Where were you 7 years ago? Not staying in shape. It's hard, but you can bounce back. But taking 10 years or so off looking after your health is a bad idea. As someone who thought I just had perfect genetics and I'd always be slim, let me be the first to agree that the fitness struggle is real when you hit the 30s. As a 25-year-old who is struggling with my weight, this prompted me to get on my feet. My grandfather was a craftsman. His main income was making and restoring furniture. Some of his pieces were incredible. In his house he had a beautiful, intricate clock. It had the phases of the moon that he had built. It was amazing. I always looked at it whenever we visited. When he died he gave everything to my cousin. She is a scumbag money pit, so she needed it the most. She promptly threw out all of his belongings and leveled my grandfather's house that he built so she could sell it. I wish I had been more on the ball and had asked for that clock. I would have paid for it if my cousin made me. One silver lining is that my dad says that the clock was probably full of lead and mercury. So, a lead and mercury lining. They look silver in the right lighting. Edit. First award. It looks silver in any light. I was going to become a cardiologist, but I wanted to travel the world and have kids and didn't want to endure such a long training period. Now I'm in my 30s and no kids. No cardiologist salary. But I have traveled the world. Guess 1 out of 3 isn't too bad. My friend is a surgeon and basically has had no life for years. You can always make more money. You can't make more time. Fair point. Being a physician is more of a lifestyle than an ordinary job. You can't really afford to disconnect completely from work, even on vacation. Recently just turned 30. I think the regret would be settling, not understanding big parts of my life could be better. It took a bit of a kick of my own ass to realize I could be a lot happier if I just control of my own life a bit, rather than just going through the motions. I think I might be doing this. Would you mind elaborating a little? I could use the perspective. Sure. So during my early 20s I had a job and a girlfriend. And far as I was concerned that was sort of it. Boxes ticked. That's life sorted. After a while though, I started considering whether I was actually happy or whether I was just going through the motions. After some reflection, I realized that in reality I wasn't actually enjoying life. I wouldn't say it was depression, but I didn't really enjoy going to work or spending time with my partner. That to me was a huge realization. It was scary to take that leap, but I made some big changes. I ended a relationship I should have done way sooner. I moved back into my parents' house for about 2-3 months whilst I started applying for new jobs. I started running and working out, as it was a good way for me to clear my head. Before I knew it, within a year I'd found someone I actually enjoyed being with. We actually are now engaged and due to be married next year. I got a job that I still get so much out of. I feel fulfilled at the end of the day, but I also love the people I work with. I took up hobbies I previously wouldn't even consider. I got a ducking dog who honestly, bar my girlfriend, is my world. I don't think there's a right answer to this. I don't think doing exactly what I did is the instant answer for happiness. But I think everyone needs to ask themselves if they truly feel happy. And if not, why not? Look to make those changes where you feel happy in your life. Rather than just dabbling by day to day. You honestly owe it to yourself. And apologies for the essay. Not starting to invest more in my 401k sooner. I also would not have started that reef tank. I did not get as much enjoyment from it as it cost. As someone in their early 20s who just got their first 401k 3 months ago, and has been contemplating converting their freshwater tank to a reef tank, this is oddly specific. And thank you. Some might view this as bragging, but I'm saying it as motivation. I've been putting 7% 10% of my gross into my 401k since I was 21. I'm 30 now and just broke the $70,000 threshold. I've been fortunate to have employer matching for 5 of those years and caught Obama's stock market run in the process. The best part about this thread is how everyone regrets not doing what someone right above them is talking about having done. I guess the point of the story is that you regret parts of your 20s no matter what. Absolutely. Everyone fears missing out one life to another. But we can't have it all. That's the biggest thing I think. We only have one life to lead. And there's so much anyone could do. At least 100,000 lifetimes of experiences. Every decision someone makes has an opportunity cost. And I for one need to accept that as it is and move with it. Being an essay guy. I wrote cringy poetry. Told women how I would be so much better of a boyfriend than their asshole bad boys. I wore a ducking trench coat and fedora. I don't know how I ended up married with 2 kids. But I obviously straightened my hit out somewhere along the way. I'm sure being cringy is a fact of life. I'm in my mid-20s, and I look upon my earlier years with disdain, because I was a complete dork. Don't worry. You'll be doing the same thing about your 20s when you're in your 30s. The ride never ends. Trying to maintain a relationship with my hitty parents and not realizing how toxic they were to my life. Being hitty to my friends. Borderline alcoholism. Drug abuse. Smoking. Not using my athleticism. Not finishing college. Not learning how to handle finances. So, most of it. I feel you on the parents thing. My father was worthless and I pined for his attention. And I realized just how unstable emotionally my mother is. Never realized how much her anxiety and temper affected my own behavior and why it was bad. I guess I was blinded to that fact because her redeeming quality is she's loyal. Coming to terms with my parents' failures was really tough. You want to love them. There's a lot of societal pressure to just deal with them because they're blood. It works for some people, but not for me. My life turned around almost instantly after I decided not to talk to them anymore. It's not ideal. I'm not thrilled about it or anything. I'm missing out on a big part of life and that's a bummer. Emotionally I just couldn't deal with them anymore. Maybe someday either future things will change. Losing friends. Also gaining a lot of weight I'm now having a hard time getting rid of. Eat healthy. Kids. And get/stay active. Nearly 30. I wish I socialized more ever since I was a teen. It's hard to make friends once work commitments start piling up. I socialized a lot in my 20s and friends still drift away. It happens no matter what. My cousin was basically Ferris Bueller throughout his entire 20s. I'm convinced he knew half the city we live in to some degree. Now in our 30s. Totally different story. The number of people he talks to and sees is around a handful of people. Smoking as much weed as I was. And smoking cigarettes for so long. I smoked weed for 7 years non-stop. I'm so happy I quit when I did. No regrets about quitting. Wish I did earlier. Kinda having a tough time reducing, and curious if quitting altogether is the way to go. Any tips? I listened to and coddled my mother too much. Finally packed all my things and left. Effectively moving 3,000 miles away. And you know what? After 2 months of paying my own bills and doing my own budget, I thought, wow, my parents really were holding me back, because this is not nearly as bad or nightmarish as everyone claims. My mother would say how I'd come crawling back on my knees, begging her to let me move back in. How I'd never be able to make it and should just focus on finding a man to marry. Well, she was wrong. I'm happily single. A homie make over 40k in school to make more, and didn't even have to marry anyone or beg her to let me move back in. So, yes, I regret listening to my parents. Growing up, you always hear how people regret not listening to their parents. Well, I listened and regret that. Edit. Thank you for the silver award and all the wonderful comments. I'm stunned. Edit 2, and even more lovely comments. There's a sub for narcissistic parents. I think r/ray said the narcissists. You may find it therapeutic. Then again, you may get flashbacks. Thank you. I'll check it out. I've done the whole therapy thing, and I'm pretty good where I'm at for the most part. Definitely interested to see how others have coped with it. Thanks again. Not traveling to places while I can. Married with a kid now, and traveling isn't really an option nowadays. I come from the other side of this. My parents took me all over the place when I was a kid. Went to Yellowstone, Yosemite, New York City, Boston, etc. Especially if you have one kid. It is so much easier and cheaper than if you have multiple. Don't be afraid to take them somewhere. They may think it's boring sometimes, but they will be thankful for it later. Also, I highly recommend Yellowstone for kids if you want to go to a national park. I was maybe 7 or 8 when I went, and I loved it cause I basically got to look at mini volcanoes all day. My parents brought me and my 2 siblings all over Europe and America, every single European state, a good part of USA, and every single town in Italy, our home country, in a caravan. When we were youngsters, you can't believe how much I'm grateful for those great memories and places and culture. Everybody told us, since we were children, how tame, respectful and smart we are. And that's because we were carpet bombed with experiences as kids. Take your kid out for duck's sake. There is no boarding school that is able to do that. Not pressing buy now when trying to purchase Bitcoin for $7. Duck, this is my regret too. I remember being a broke as college student in 2011 with about $50 a week spare cash and trying to decide if I should risk $50 on Bitcoin. I didn't go through with it. Even if you had, you would have sold it when it hit $200. The only people who got rich off of Bitcoin were the ones who bought it in 2011 and then lost the flash drive with the Bitcoin on it until 2017. Not standing up firmly against my emotionally abusive close friend. We hear about romantic abusive relationships all the time, especially on Reddit. But the very same dynamics can happen within friendships. It was only when I started reading about emotional abuse that I realized what had been going on with that particular friendship back then. If only I had known sooner, would have saved me a world of hurt. Edit. I had not expected to hear so many similar stories. I wish I had heard from you all when this happened to me. I would not have felt so alone. Be happy. People 3. I hope you are okay now. I experienced this myself. Friend from school. I stayed in touch with her until I was 28. It was such a relief when I made the decision. 5 years later with no regrets. I'm okay now. She actually made the decision for me. When she friend dumped me years ago, the unfortunate part was that she had painted me as toxic to the rest of our friend group. So she took all my friends with her. That was a really tough time. I basically had to start over. It did a number on my self-esteem as well. Here's the funny part, though. 8 years later, and she's the lonely one, with only one real friend left. Not that I wish for her to be lonely. She had messed up parents and that messed her up. And I wish the best for her. We sort of kind of made up a couple of years ago. But I still keep her at a healthy distance. I'm stronger and happier now. And I hope you are too. I did not have many options back then. So I focused in the only thing I could achieve at that time. Which was obtaining and maintaining a job. Because of my situation. My mental health was hit, and immersing in my routine of going to work, to the gym, and then home was keeping me sane. I could not make or maintain any friendships. Therefore I did not party. So I don't have any fun or wild stories. Since I relied on people to do it, I denied myself the opportunity to travel. So I don't have any interesting travel stories. I lost the motivation to further my education. I don't even have an associate's degree. Sometimes I get the desire to go back to school, but now I feel too dumb to go back. Now I'm too cynical. Too dull and too boring. I have nothing interesting to add to any conversation, zero academic knowledge and relevant experiences, and I have nothing to look forward to. TL. Doctor, I regret not having traveled. Not finished college/expanding my knowledge. Not getting better at any hobbies. Being in a relationship that did not add anything substantial to my life. Neglecting my mental health. Procrastinating. Expecting things to just happen without real effort on my part. My advice, what I did, or are currently doing. 1. Don't rely on people to learn new experiences. Please don't feel self-conscious about going alone. Nobody cares as much as you think. 2. Please don't neglect your education. If you don't go to college, try reading or watch documentaries. 3. Focus on exercising and eating healthy. 4. If you have a hobby and no friends to share it, try meetups or something similar. 5. If you suffer from mental illness, please find a way to address that as soon as possible. Do not find unhealthy coping mechanisms. 6. You don't have to travel to fancy schmancy obscure places if you can. Good for you. Like Anthony Bourdain said, just go across the bridge in your town. Explore your city or state. 7. If possible, take a day off from work to do anything. Or nothing at all. 8. Don't rely on social media and compare yourself to others based on their own curated versions. 9. Cut off or distance yourself from people who don't add value to your life. 10. Please make yourself a priority. Thanks if you read my wall of text. Edit. Sometimes it helps making a list of the positive things gained by doing X instead of Y. Thank you all who read my post and took the time to reply. I appreciate all the comments. I wish you all good luck. Hey, please don't be so hard on yourself. It really never is too late to do almost anything. Seconded. Especially for someone with such a clear understanding of themselves and ways they can improve their life. Shoulder dated more instead of wasting many years with the same loser. Just broke up with a loser. Here's to hoping I find someone. You're gonna do just fine, you/slut puppy.